All right, ladies and gentlemen, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever else you may be watching this. Hey, my name is John. My name is Sean Branyan, and I've got a few things to talk about tonight, but I don't have things to talk about to everybody. So before this goes very far at all, I want to make it abundantly clear who I'm talking to tonight. I'm talking to religious people. Specifically, I'm talking to Christian people, but if you do not identify as a religious person, if you are religiously ambiguous, you probably don't need to stay tuned for this, because I'm not even going to try to be inclusive and tolerant of non-religious points of view. Not even going to try. I'm going to be the most bigoted, hard-headed, stubborn, self-righteous, if you want to use that word, individual over the next few minutes, because I have something that I want to talk about with my family, and my family are the religious people. My family are the people who are going to have some moral convictions, some sort of underpinning, some basis for believing that there's such a thing as right and wrong. And if you're not a religious person, then you don't have a basis for right and wrong, and so you don't need to listen to this. All right, you're welcome to listen, but I don't want to get 10 minutes into this and have you go, hey, this guy's talking about religion. I'm telling you that right up front. All right. So don't be mad at me later on when you realize that this is all about religion. This is all about religion. I'm just saying it right up front, unapologetically, unabashedly. Here we go. To my religious people, specifically my Christian people, it's time that we had a conversation about Netflix. It's time we talked about Netflix. I became aware a couple of days ago of this movie that Netflix is putting out, and it's a French film. It's a French film originally, and it won a bunch of awards at Sundance. And so Netflix is airing it next month in September. And I'm not going to show you any of the advertising that Netflix is using to put this film out, because it's a little bit disturbing if you're a Christian person, because it's exploitive, specifically of young girls. It's exploitive of little girls, little children, little girls. And so you can look it up on YouTube. You can Google it if you want to see what I'm talking about. I've got a couple of quotes that I'm going to put up here a little bit later, but I want to talk specifically about Netflix as it applies to those of us who are Christian people. I want to talk about Netflix as it applies to our family, our tribe, our group, our body, our kingdom, if you want to use that term. I think it's time that we have a conversation about where we are looking as Christian people for entertainment. Who are we tuning into to entertain us? If we're looking to Netflix, then we're getting stuff like this movie, this Cuties movie that Netflix is releasing. Now, I need to be perfectly clear about this. If you are not a religious person, if you are not a Christian person, then I have no problem with you watching any movies that you care to watch. You can watch anything. There are no guidelines. There's no boundaries for those of you who are not religious people. There are no rules. But for those of us who are Christians, we have to draw a few lines, not only for ourselves and for our family, but also for the whole of society. We have a responsibility to shine a light into the world, and we are not doing that when we stand idly by and let movies like the one that Netflix is going to air next month, this Cuties movie. If we don't say anything about that, then we give the impression to the world that we're okay with it. We give the impression that we don't have a problem with it. And we do have a problem with it. And if you haven't heard about it or haven't seen it, what the advertisements are, let me give you a brief synopsis. The problem is that Netflix advertised this film as a French film, and well, I'll just put up the quote. The picture that came along with it had 4 or 5, I can't remember, had a group of young girls, 11-year-old girls, and they were dressed in dancing attire. So they had bare stomachs, and they had short shorts on, and they were in various poses that were that were not Sesame Street poses. They were not innocent poses. They look like they could have been burlesque shows, except that it was 11-year-old girls. Okay, so that was a photo that went along with it, and then the caption that Netflix originally put out, the synopsis was this: Amy, 11, becomes fascinated. It's supposed to be fascinated with a twerking dance crew. A description for the show said, hoping to join them, she starts to explore her femininity, defying her family's traditions. All right, Amy, 11, becomes fascinated with a twerking dance crew. You may have to look up twerking to see what that is. Hoping to join them, she starts to explore her femininity, defying her family's traditions. Defying her family's traditions, she's exploring her femininity at 11. Now, if you have 11-year-old children, 11-year-old girls in your family or in your life, I want you to ask yourself a question. Do you think that it's appropriate for those 11-year-olds to explore their femininity on Netflix, in a movie, in front of a bunch of strangers? Bear in mind that we are living in a culture now that is all up in arms about human trafficking. We are absolutely outraged. Outraged, I tell you, that human trafficking and sex trafficking is out of control. Millions of people are abducted and forced into the sex trade against their will, and that is absolutely outrageous to us. At the same time, we're okay with Netflix exploiting 11-year-old girls who are ripe for human trafficking, putting them on screen and applauding them and watching it unfold right before our eyes. We're watching exploitation happen right before our eyes. Now, I've read a few of the articles. I haven't seen the movie, but I've read a few articles about it, and some of the people are justifying and pushing back against it, saying, John, they didn't say John because they didn't know I was reading it, but they said that this movie is actually a statement against the sexualization of young children. The movie is actually, the message of the movie is that it is destructive to sexualize children, and it's harmful to them. And that is what the maker of the movie, the original French movie, that was the statement that they were trying to make, that you shouldn't exploit children. Okay, if that's true, are there no other ways to make a statement against the exploitation of children besides exploiting children? I mean, if you're going to make a statement that it's wrong to exploit children, do you have to exploit children to make that statement? I would submit that you don't. So Netflix issued another response after this. There was some backlash. There were some people who were a little up in arms, and I'm going to show you a tweet that I clipped out here from somebody else. But Netflix issued an apology for the way that they promoted the film, and that's significant. They didn't issue an apology for airing the film or for planning to air the film. They didn't actually issue an apology for what the film contained, but they issued an apology for the manner with which they advertised that film. Okay? So what's going on? They didn't say, oh, our bad, our mistake, we'll take that down. Why would they? Why would they? They don't have a problem with it. And remember, I'm talking to my Christian brothers and sisters here. I'm talking to my family here. We have got to stop expecting pagan companies like Netflix to air our values. They don't have our values. They don't have our theology. They don't have the Spirit guiding them. So it's outrageous for Christian people to say, circulate a petition, which is what happened. Some people circulated a petition and sent a few 100,000 names to Netflix. Now, what are they going to do with that? What are they going to do? Is Netflix going to go, oh, sorry, we didn't realize that we were offending the Christian people? Of course they knew they were offending the Christian people. They don't care. They don't care. If they were worried about upsetting the moral people in the United States, they would not have even considered airing that film in the first place. But the fact is that they promoted it the way they promoted it to attract attention. Because now what's going to happen is that even people who would not have watched the film in the first place are going to watch it because it has created a sensation. That's what promotion is. That's the whole goal of promoting a film. It's not necessarily to make a declarative statement about whether this is a good or a bad thing. They don't care about that. All they care about is getting people to watch it, because the more people that watch it, the more money that they make. And that's all this is about. It's not about offending or not offending people. It's all about making money. And so the people who've decided that they want to take a moral stand and they want to send a petition to Netflix, it's a complete waste of time, because they knew that it was offensive in the first place. You're not telling them anything they didn't already know. Oh, it's upsetting to you? The exploitation, the sexual exploitation of little girls is upsetting to some people? We had no idea. We had no idea. Of course they knew. Of course they knew. So here's the statement that Netflix released. After their apology, they rewrote the description for the film. Now it reads, 11-year-old Amy starts to rebel against her conservative family's tradition when she becomes fascinated with a free-spirited dance crew. That's how they fixed it. They fixed it by saying she starts to rebel at 11 against her, what kind of family? Conservative family. Against her conservative family's traditions when she becomes fascinated with a free-spirited dance crew. By free-spirited, we mean they exploit children. So, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? I'll tell you what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to write petitions. One of the guys that I follow, a Lutheran minister named Hans Feeney, he wrote this yesterday. He says, here's the problem. It would not be hard to find 10 million men to go to war against this. It's almost impossible, however, to find the first 10. It wouldn't be hard to find 10 million men to go to war against this, but it's almost impossible to find the first 10. What does that mean? That means that once the inertia gets rolling in a particular direction, then it's easy to get people on the bandwagon. The hard part is starting out. The hard part is being a little solitary sole voice, the one solitary voice of dissension, shouting against the noise of this fallen world, shouting against the pagan onslaught of Netflix. Netflix is a behemoth. It's a monster. They have millions and millions of dollars and millions of viewers. What are we going to do? What are little bitty old us going to do? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start producing my own content. I've already started. If you go to my website, you will find little videos that I've made. You'll find stand-up that I've done. You'll find articles that I've written. You'll find pictures that I've drawn. You'll find podcasts that I've produced. I'm starting to put out my content. I'm starting to speak truth from my religious convictions, Christianity, to the world. Is it a very big voice? It is not a very big voice. It's not a very big voice. It's not easy to say that. And it's not a big voice at all. That's why I'm talking to you. That's why I'm talking to my family. I'm going to ask you to take the $15 a month that you are currently giving to Netflix and stop giving it to Netflix and give it to me. How's that for bold? Part of the reason that I don't have a very big voice is because a lot of the people in my family, a lot of the people in our tribe are giving their money and their support to Netflix so they can produce videos that exploit children, rather than giving that money to me so that I can put out the Starving Comics Quarantine Show. If you haven't seen the Starving Comics Quarantine Show, every Sunday night, I get together with some of my friends and we produce over an hour of family-friendly stuff. Sometimes we play games. Sometimes we have little reviews. Sometimes we do weird videos where one of our guys dresses up like Snape from Harry Potter and sings K-pop songs. I'm not kidding you. But we can't do that with the same level that Netflix does it because we don't have the support that Netflix has. So how do we change that? We change it one person at a time. We change it by going on and talking to you about what you can do. What you can do is you can take your $15 and rather than giving it to Netflix, you send 12 of it to me. And then I can produce more quarantine shows and I can start building a platform that's going to be more and more and more attractive to people. And will we be as big as Netflix? I don't know, maybe. But even if we get to be half the size of Netflix, do you think that would be a positive thing for you and your family? Do you think that'd be a good thing for America? I do. I think it'd be better to produce clean, family-friendly comedy. I think that would be better than producing movies that talk about the exploitation of children by exploiting children. Now, understand that I'm not saying this so that we punish Netflix. That's not the goal. The goal is not to punish Netflix, okay? Christian brothers and sisters, that's not our goal because they're not doing anything other than what pagans do. Pagans do what pagans do. And so they're producing pagan content. All I'm saying is that we have to stop consuming that content. We have to stop being dependent on them to produce the things that we watch with our family, to produce the content. Starving Comics quarantine show. It's an excellent example. We can do stuff on Starving Comics that you can't do on Netflix. For example, I can see all of your little comments right here. Look at that. We can put up puke emojis right now live. You can talk to me. Talk to me. That would be amazing. It would be amazing, wouldn't it, Kara? And there's no reason why we can't do it. Here's Dakota. Stopped giving to Netflix a while ago, so I can double up on my giving to Starving Comics quarantine show. Yeah, you can. Actually, I don't have a way to do that, but that's a great idea. It's a great idea, Dakota. You should figure out a way to make it possible for you guys to give, more money. Right now, the most you can give is $12 a month, but I should up that to maybe $500,000. But you can talk to me. And I can talk back to you. We can interact with each other online. Here's the thing. I can't do it by myself, but I want to do something. And we have the talent. I have access to people already that are incredibly talented. They're gifted, and they just don't know what to do. So we need somebody to start marching in a direction. I will be that somebody. I'm going to start marching in a direction. And the goal is to get to where we are big enough that we can no longer be ignored. And people are going to start looking at us and going, hey, how do we get on that Starving Comics quarantine show? How do we hitch our wagon to that train? And what we're going to say is, you can't hitch your wagon to this train because this train is built on a foundation of Judeo-Christian ethics. We actually stand for something. We're not just doing what we do because we're trying to make money. We're doing what we do because it's the right thing to do. Why does the white man sweat so profusely? Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because it's 150 degrees up here in my attic. This is a labor of love. It's a great question. The reason I'm sweating is because it's super hot. It's super hot here. And it's been hot all day and all the heat rises. It's science. But I don't plan to spend any longer up here than I absolutely need to. Here's somebody, Marilyn Rice, thankful you don't have a TV. Yeah, well, I'm thankful you don't have a TV too, but you do have an internet connection, obviously. So you can go to johnbranding.com. I'm going to put it up right now. I need you to subscribe. Membership is free. You can come along for the ride for nothing. Go over to johnbranding.com, click the button that says click, CLIQUE, because it's a play on words, and join our clique. It's a very exclusive group of people. It's just people who get where we're going and agree with what we're trying to accomplish. It doesn't cost anything, or you can be mid-level for $5 a month. $5 a month. That's $1.25 a week. Do you know what costs $1.25 a week other than membership? Nothing else costs $1.25 a week. It's the cheapest thing on earth. And what it gets you is access to extra content. It gets you access to our chat room, which is a blast. You get direct access. We're building a community. We're building a community where your opinions and your thoughts and your feedback matters. It affects things. This is a family. It's a family. And if you really want to be crazy and go full on support, you can go $12 a month. $12 a month for diamond level. $12. What is that? $3 a month or $3 a week? $3 a week. That's you spend more than that on coffee. You do. You spend more than that on toilet paper, probably, if you have a family of any size or any regularity. JohnBrandy.com. I need you to go right now. Right now. Get ready to end this. But go. We're building a platform. We're building a community. We are trying to produce content that is good for America's soul. It's good for your family's soul. Netflix is not. Netflix doesn't care about feeding your soul. They care about making money, and they care about having influence. We care about feeding your soul. We're an itty bitty, teeny weeny little organization. But the goal is that if we band together, and if we get enough itty bitty, teeny weeny little voices banding together and going in the same direction, suddenly we're not an itty bitty, teeny little voice anymore. Suddenly we become a force. Suddenly we become a force to be reckoned with. And again, we're not doing it for the power. We're not doing it for the money. We're not doing it for the prestige. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And it's one thing to complain about what is produced by the pagans, but it's another thing to actually start to take action, start to take steps to do something to offer an alternative. That's what I want to do. And I want you to help me. And I'm not kidding. Right now, I'm serious. Right now, go to my website and start supporting me. We're going to offer an alternative. I'm not the only one, and you're not the only one. So we're looking for the people who are on our side. We're looking for the people who are part of our family. And we're going to start humbly, but we're going to find them bit by bit, person by person. We're eventually going to gather our people in. And I don't know what the result is going to be, but it's going to be an alternative to what the world is producing. It's going to be hope. It's going to be light. It's going to be uplifting. It's going to be joy. It's going to be peace. And without going too philosophically or theologically deep, it's going to be salvation. So that's it. That's the end of my rant. Anybody got anything that they want to add? We're a small spark to start a big fire. That's exactly right. Send this video to all those who signed the petition. Yeah, that's a great idea, Jeff. John Brandy, what's your opinion on Joe Biden? Holy cow. That's for another podcast. But I'm glad you asked. John will hunt you down. I probably shouldn't have put that one up there. That's not true. Yes, be part of the solution and not part of the problem. That's right. Feel free to share this with your friends, with your family. Feel free to reach out and contact me, but do not feel free to not support me. There's the website right there. If you're not already a member, go and join our happy tribe. And I will look for you online. We've got a Telegram group that you can get into once you get onto the website, and once you become a member, you can join our Telegram group, and we have tons of fun in there. So that's it. You bet, Kara. Thank you. It's Slavey. Say no to the vaccines. That's what they're after. Vaccine caused brain damage. Poison 82220. Okay. Well, I don't know about that. But that's one of the things that we can do when we form our little tribe. We can have all sorts of dissenting opinions, and we can have all sorts of conversations about what we feel about vaccines. I wasn't sure what that was going to be about. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening to my rant. Hit me up online if you have a comment or a question. Go join my website. Go become part of the clique. Go right now. Before you do anything else, put your sandwich down, drop your soup spoon, and go support this. We're going someplace. We're going to offer an alternative for the soul of America, and we want you to be part of it. If it sounds good to you, If it sounds good to you to have a place where you can go and bring your family and it'll be positive values and virtues espoused, if that sounds good to you, then what are you waiting for? Seriously, what are you waiting for?